Hello, I make animated Doge meme videos under the handle Squillion on YouTube and TikTok. So if you're familiar with that, this is probably the first time seeing my face. I don't know what you were expecting, but this is what we're working with. Anyway, I recently reached 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Thank you to everyone for that. And with that, I had promised someone many months ago at this point that I would make a video showing how I make my shorts and everything when I hit 1 million. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I hope to potentially make other videos about my experience on TikTok and YouTube, and maybe connect a little bit more with the people who watch my content. Moving on, my videos are actually very simple, I think. Just about anybody could do it. You could probably even do it on your phone using CapCut or whatever, assuming CapCut survives the whole TikTok ban and everything. But I do it on the computer. I mainly use two programs, DaVinci Resolve for editing and Gimp for like making assets and whatnot. Both of them are free, although DaVinci Resolve does have a paid version that I use, but all of the really super important stuff can be done just using the free version. Gimp is a little different. It stands for New Image Manipulation Program, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is just kind of poopy off-brand Photoshop. Gimp is free though, and Photoshop can be quite expensive. Now there are two other steps: writing the script and recording voices, and you can basically use whatever you want for that. And the overall process is very simple. The vast majority of things are just PNG images that I move around. So now I'll very quickly make like a very simple example video to show how it's all done. For this, I'll use just a really simple joke script just to show how I handle multiple lines and everything. So now we're gonna record the voices in Audacity. I have to warn you, this is a little cringe. I do all the voices, but you gotta kind of get in character and everything.
Hey, hey, hey. The sky, the sky, the sky, the sky, the sky.
So that's generally how I record the voices. I split up each line, record it a couple times, and now we'll decide which takes we want to keep and cut it up.
Hey, 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 hey. The sky, the sky, the sky, the sky, the sky, the sky, the sky.
Okay, now we have the boys' lines recorded. Let's record the girl next. Now we have both voices recorded. Now we can start editing. So here we are in DaVinci Resolve with a new project. I'll have to be careful with my camera placement, but down here at the right there's a little cog. You can click that, and you want to change this to use vertical resolution and the frame rate to 60. And then we want to switch over to the edit section. I do almost all of the video editing stuff in here. And now we can add the sounds. Now it'll start as stereo audio, meaning left and right ear have different tracks technically. I find that when you start applying effects and whatnot, that can get a little glitchy. So I like to use just mono, and I like to keep each character on a separate audio track. So now we'll cut the audio up and line it up in proper chronological order.
Hey, what's up? The sky, the sky.
Now to actually get the voices, I do tweak the pitch. So typically what I'll do for the boy over here, go over, change semitones to 3 and the girl to 6, and that'll make both of them higher pitch. We're also going to increase the volume a little bit, and now we can listen to it.
Hey, what's up? The sky. You got me.
And that's most of what I do for voices, unless I'm doing some really special effect. Now to making the actual video itself. I do want to say that I use a somewhat realism style. I highly suggest you don't do that. For example, with finding the backgrounds, which we're going to try to do now, the realistic style means that I generally need to either take a photo myself or find it from a free stock photo site like Pexels here, which is really nice. But that can be very limiting in what you're actually able to do when you can't find a background that fits your mental vision for what you want for the video. And you can pretty much spend an infinite amount of time looking for assets. So I highly suggest drawing your own stuff or something if you can. For me, it's too late. This is the style I have, so I gotta live with it. But this is the first major pitfall I'd like to warn you about when it comes to my style of video. Okay, I think this will work for what I want to show with the background, so we're gonna use it. Now we can drag it over here, And we've got the background. Let's move it over here a little bit, zoom in. This should work. Now the reason I picked this is because it has this table here that can be used to show depth with the foreground and the background. So this is Gimp, and we want to cut out this little table with the lasso tool. Now, these little thingies here are kind of a pain. You just gotta kind of try your best. There's probably some like magic wand way to actually handle it, but the tools for Gimp are not great. So I find I get the best results from just doing it manually. All right, we've gotten over to this vase, and here's another suggestion: avoid all plants. It's often very difficult to like get every individual stem and leaf, and then it doesn't look right. So just avoid plants like this if at all possible. But luckily for us, we don't care about that because this is out of frame. So we're gonna cheat by just cutting it off here. Okay, now we've got this little section selected. So what I do then is go select, invert. You sometimes have to go over down here and add alpha channel, and then you can delete. So we're gonna save it as a .png to preserve the transparency. Now I've dragged it in here. We can move it over here. You can copy Control C on this one, and then paste attributes and just do all of them. And now it's over top that. And let's make some room here for the characters and then add them. So for the characters, I do have a repository of characters. Because I use Doge as sort of the base template for my characters, I did grab a lot of stuff from the Doge lore subreddit, actually. They have a big repository of Doge stuff for memes. But I made a whole bunch of my own. I would theoretically suggest you use your own original characters if you can, but who knows how much actually using Doge played in my success. So to show how I make the characters, I'm gonna just go through and make a new one now. So here we have the base character template with a neutral expression. I did cut out the eyes. I'll get into that a little bit later. In theory, having some sort of video game character customizer would be way better than doing it manually like this, but I've been doing it manually, and this is how I do it. So first, we'll just take this image of me sort of at the similar angle. We'll select the hair here, cut it out, and now we've got the hair to use. And from here, we can sort of move it down like this-ish. It looks all right. And now we gotta try to make it work a little bit better. One thing we can use is the warp transform tool, and we can just sort of warp the hair a little bit to better fit onto the base sprite. And now I don't really like this little bit here, so I'm gonna just sort of do a little thing like this and then delete it, and then we'll clean it up a little bit with the eraser tool. I'm gonna cut out the ear a little bit. Delete. That's really how I do the hair for pretty much all my characters. I take a picture, I cut out the hair, and then sort of morph the hair onto Doge. So we'll save this as kid example.png. And over here, we've got one with the mouth open. So I'm gonna just copy it, paste it here, sort of move it so it lines up. And then we're gonna cut out the mouth. And now we have a sprite of him speaking. So we'll save that as well. And now I wanna have a little smug emotion for when he's telling the joke. So I'm gonna do that by morphing the eyes. I think a better way to do it would be to add eyebrows, but Doge doesn't naturally have eyebrows, and I established myself doing this style. It is what it is, but really just sort of morph it down like so. Morph a little smile in here. And I think we got him looking a little smug, so we'll save this, and then we'll add the mouth back. Now we got the new character and two emotions, sort of neutral and smug. So we can add this to DaVinci Resolve. So for this, what I like to do is scale them so that they're just in frame. And then I make a compound clip, which is a sort of a clip within the clip. We're going to take the voice lines, paste them into the compound clip, and then I do all the lip syncing and eye movements within here. And that's so I don't have to like manually animate all of the separate sprites for any movement. Now, before I start doing this, I do want to say that both lip syncing and eye tracking are big pitfalls that I fell into. I feel like it's part of my style and I can't stop doing it, but they are big time sinks. They're boring to do. If you could avoid it, I would avoid it. But let's get lip syncing. So we're gonna take our neutral emotion, make sure it's scaled the exact same way, and then we line it up with a little bit of the waveform here, and also with just the vibes of how it sounds.
Hey! Hey!
Here I want to change emotions to smug, so we're gonna drag the smug stuff in here, and we'll lip sync a little bit. Okay, I think I've got it all lip synced here.
Hey! What's up? This guy. You got me.
Alright, so that's it for this character's lip syncing. Now, lip syncing for me is not very scientific. I do it mostly based on vibes. I like to put breakpoints between clear syllables, and whenever there's a sound like or something where the mouth would definitely be closed, and obviously just breaks where no one's speaking. Now let's do the eyes while we're here. So I have these eye templates that I made. You could probably use basically any eye sprite template thing that you've got from like a video game or something. I would also say though that probably try to avoid doing eyes, because actually doing eye tracking and whatnot and all that is a giant pain. You can take like an infinite amount of time just tweaking it to make it feel right, and try to avoid it if you can. But I'm doing it anyway for this. It'll just be static, and he's looking to the right here. So now we got our dude here. Let's scale him down. Here he is, and you can see the depth with the little table from our cutout. Now we want a second character. I'm gonna just use a pre-made character that we know. We're just gonna go through the same steps we did with the boy. Alright, now we've got both characters here. Let's scale them and sort of place them where we want them to be for the actual skit. So I'm going to have the dude walk in as he's talking and the girl turn around. So around here, we're going to break this, and then over here, flip her around. So it's going to be...
Hey! What?
She turns around like so. We're going to have him end up here after the hey. And then start slightly off screen. And then now this is how I do the walking. We open this thing here. We divide it into several little sections here. And then we do a little hop. We do this to make it so that it's smooth and not just like robotic. Actually, that might be too fast. Maybe we can do it like this. Yeah, that'll work. And then we can go here. Paste that there. He sort of hops
What's
in.
up?
And now we've kind of got the scene.
Hey! What's up? This guy. You got me.
This is really all you need to know in order to start making these kinds of animations. Now it can get a lot more complex. This is what the timeline and everything looks like for my biggest short right now, the April Fool's prank video. But it's still the same core idea. You've got the base character here. He's sort of moving around and hopping around the screen. You're switching between sprites for the lip syncing. Pretty much everything else here is a PNG that's just layered on top of each other, like you can kind of see here. There's a little bit more fancy stuff with like the cow getting abducted over here, and that's some fun stuff you can add over the top, but really the core of it is just PNGs that you're manipulating around and just flipping between character sprites to show emotions and lip sync. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments and I'll try to respond, but this is really the core of all my videos and how I make them. them. And I think overall it's pretty easy and just about anyone could do it, to be honest. If anyone does try to make something like this, I wish you luck and at me maybe, and I'll go give it a look. I also plan on making videos outlining my experience with my TikTok channel and my YouTube channel, just going over my experience growing the channels and other stuff like revenue and whatnot. And hopefully that'll be helpful to really anyone who's interested in starting a TikTok or YouTube Shorts channel, although who knows if TikTok is going to be around for that much longer. And I also wanted to start showing my face more a little bit, because being a faceless channel and whatnot is a little isolating, and I want more of a social interaction and connection with my audience that I just feel like is very difficult to achieve on a faceless animation channel like I've set up. Anyway, thank you for watching. See ya!